I thought this morning's performance by one of your lower grade presenters on the Today programme was utterly disgraceful. I think to frame a question around the leader of Reform's relationship with Hitler, which is how she framed it, was despicable, disgusting.
When Nigel Farage sits down for an interview, you can usually sense a political bombshell is coming, the kind that rattles the establishment and leaves everyone scrambling. So when Laura Kuenssberg announced him as her guest, the audience braced for fireworks. And to be fair, the Reform UK leader didn't disappoint, delivering a moment British politics rarely sees anymore. If you're enjoying this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Dark Britain, because over 98% of viewers watch without hitting follow, even though subscribing is free. Laura Kuenssberg, known for her sharp, relentless questioning, was clearly under pressure, and it showed, because this time she faced Nigel Farage, who effortlessly batted away whatever was thrown at him. The highlight came when she pressed him on the British steel and aluminium industry, turning the exchange into one of those rare interviews people will still be talking about long after it ended.
Now, you're a right-wing politician, former city trader, and here you are backing nationalisation. It's a bit strange, isn't it?
I worked for 22 years in the metals industry, and I've watched many of the firms that I used to deal with all around the United Kingdom close and disappear over the last 15 years or so. Vote blue, go green. That's what Cameron told us in 2010. Well, that's exactly what we've done. We've followed net zero policies. We've got the most expensive industrial electricity prices in the world, which gives us a massive competitive disadvantage. And it just seemed to me, at the moment Port Talbot closed down, I thought maybe the Labour government would act.
For those unaware, the UK recently held an emergency vote to take control of British Steel, which is owned by the Chinese company Jingyi, after the firm announced plans to shut down the last 2 blast furnaces. A move that would have effectively ended primary steel production in the country. Jingyi claimed the plant was losing money and insisted closure was in their best interest. But Nigel Farage didn't hold back, accusing the Chinese-owned Jingyi Group of fabricating their financial losses to push their own agenda.
It was the right thing to do because Jingyi clearly are a bad actor.
But it's important to say to people that Port Talbot hasn't closed. There was a deal to keep that going. And in January 2023...
I'm sorry.
Let's stick on
the electric arc furnaces there will never be switched on.
Well, many people would disagree with that, but let's stick on what you're in principle backing for Scunthorpe being nationalised, because in January 2023, you go back then, and at that point you were saying, well, why should government bail it out? British Steel should never have been sold to the Chinese in the first place.
That's the point. That is the point. At that moment in time, the Conservative Party under Boris Johnson were pro-China. They effectively gave a strategic industry to a foreign government, and I was vigorously opposed to it. I wanted somebody else to buy British Steel, and there were other bids. The Johnson government did have other bids.
Laura Kuenssberg pressed Nigel Farage on what proof he had for making such a serious accusation, and he replied, "You can call it intuition if you like, but why do you think trade unions took action yesterday morning to block China? They feared industrial sabotage." Kuenssberg attempted to corner him, suggesting he was making reckless claims without evidence, and accused him of spreading dangerous assumptions. But Farage pushed back firmly, insisting it's not a private company. I'm sorry, there's no such thing as a truly private company in China. That's just not how it works.
You've made a serious accusation about a big Chinese company, Jingyi. What is your evidence that they have been lying about the figures? And you say lying about everything. What's your actual evidence for that?
Well, you can call it intuition if you like, but why do you think that yesterday morning the trade unions acted to stop the Chinese officials even getting their cars into the plant because they feared...
When Laura Kuenssberg pressed Nigel Farage again for evidence, he replied, "I am 100% sure they bought British Steel just to shut it down." Kuenssberg pushed further, asking, "If you get your wishful nationalisation and the cost rises from 1 billion to 2, 3, or even 4 billion, is there any point where you'd say this has gone too far?"
People here we've spoken to this afternoon, though, seem to be coming to you because they're very angry. They're very angry about the state of the country. Do you think that's what it's about?
As they should be. As they should be. You know, the reopening of the debate around the, well, they call it the grooming gang scandal, but it's not, it's the mass rape scandal. I just think people ask themselves, what has happened to our country? How could this possibly have happened? Why did everybody want to cover it up? Why has there been no full public inquiry? People are angry about that, yes, and they're right to be.
Isn't it worth it? Laura Kuenssberg asked, and Nigel Farage replied, there's no reason why we can't manufacture our own steel. There's no reason we can't produce aluminium or do our own refining. There's no reason we can't do any of these things. Kuenssberg pushed back, saying, that's not answering my question. After the interview, the fallout was immediate, with viewers taking to social media to voice their disappointment. Many clearly unimpressed with her style and openly criticising the BBC host for how she handled the exchange.
They're also angry economically. We are getting poorer. You know, if you look at the last 8 quarters, GDP per capita is falling in 6 of them. And it coincides with a period of record net legal migration. Mass immigration not only makes it tough for young people to get a house, not only makes it very difficult to see a GP, not only makes our roads and infrastructure struggle to cope, it's making...
When Nigel Farage speaks, he doesn't just talk, he shakes the political landscape. During his latest appearance with Laura Kuenssberg, the impact was unmistakable, with viewers quickly taking to social media to criticise her gotcha-style questioning and claiming she missed the importance of protecting UK steel, calling her style confusing, irrelevant and boring, and urging her to study older interviews for a better approach. The backlash reignited debate over BBC bias against Farage and Reform UK. He had previously boycotted the broadcaster, accusing it of unfair treatment on Question Time, where he faced tough questions on immigration, the N8s, and controversial remarks by party members, and vowed to fight the licence fee. While 3 Reform UK candidates were dropped over offensive remarks, the party denied extremism claims, emphasising tougher action on illegal immigration and a one-in, one-out policy for legal migrants. The National Education Union condemned the party as racist and far-right, calling Farage a pound shop Donald Trump, though stopping short of directly labelling him or the party racist. Yet despite these attacks, Farage and Reform UK remain defiant, pushing their platform and defending their policies.
He has been attacking half of Trump's cabinet this week. Elon says what he wants to say at any moment in time.
Okay, well, Nigel,
what I will say is, though, as far as many young people are concerned in Britain, we're certainly cooler than the other parties.
But did he say anything to you about what he said on social media?
We talked about it.
What did he say?
Oh, he was just trying to encourage me in a few policy areas. Ones I wasn't prepared to go down.
Okay. Well, Nigel Farage, thank you very much for coming in. It's great to have you with us live in the studio on a Sunday morning. Thank you. Well, all the parties have been busy on the campaign trail. Here they are. The Lib Dems say, though, on British Steel, they'll work constructively with the government, but they urged it to be judicious about the emergency laws that they have passed. The Green Party has a different line, though. They say steel's integral to the green transition and they are in favour of public ownership. And we'll be talking to the leaders of the Greens and the Lib Dems on our next programme on the 27th of April, because we're having a little breather over the Easter weekend. Not yet, though. We're still here live and kicking this morning. Gary, what did you make of what Jonathan Reynolds had to say? I think a lot of our viewers' ears will have pricked up when he wouldn't guarantee that actually they can keep the plant running.
He has given us Jonathan, the Labour government have given us a fighting chance for British Steel with the decisions they made yesterday, and that's got to be welcomed. This is about jobs, this is about communities, this is about national security.
When asked whether he disagreed with the union's motion, Daniel Kebby said, "I think there are an awful lot of racists getting involved in reform." And when pressed on whether that included Nigel Farage, he added, "I think Nigel Farage is a right-wing populist." Farage didn't hold back, hitting back fiercely at Kebby's claims, accusing him of promoting political indoctrination in schools and warning that if Reform UK wins the next general election, they'll go to war with the teaching unions. Farage called Kebby a septic Marxist and claimed he was actively poisoning teenagers' minds, insisting this isn't just about politics, but the future of British children and how they're taught to view their country. This is someone who wants our children to be brainwashed to hate this country, its history, and everything it stands for. He argued students should be taught with balance and fairness, encouraged to think critically, and allowed to decide for themselves what to believe, adding, "Don't force ideology on them." The battle for the soul of Britain is far from over. Nigel Farage and Reform UK are not backing down, and neither should you. If you enjoyed this political firestorm, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more.
Let me say this to you. The double standards and hypocrisy of the BBC are absolutely astonishing. At the time I was alleged to have made these remarks, one of your most popular weekly shows was the Black and White Minstrels, right? The BBC were very happy to use blackface. Oh, and not just in the Black and White Minstrels, you did it in It Ain't Half Hot Mum.
When Nigel Farage speaks, he rarely just fills airtime. He jolts the political conversation, and his latest appearance with Kuenssberg was no exception, as viewers flooded social media accusing her of gotcha-style questioning that missed the wider stakes, particularly the issue of protecting UK steel, with critics branding her approach confusing, irrelevant and dull, while urging her to revisit older interviews to sharpen her technique. The reaction reignited long-running arguments over alleged BBC bias toward Farage and Reform UK, especially given his past boycott of the broadcaster after what he described as hostile treatment on Question Time, where he faced aggressive questioning on immigration, the N8s and inflammatory comments by party figures, and his pledge to challenge the licence fee. Although 3 Reform UK candidates were dropped over offensive remarks, the party rejected claims of extremism, instead stressing its hardline stance on illegal immigration and a one-in, one-out policy for legal migration. The National Education Union weighed in by condemning the party as racist and far-right and dismissing Farage as a pound-shop Donald Trump, while stopping short of explicitly branding him or the party as racist. Yet despite sustained criticism, Farage and Reform UK remain unapologetic, continuing to press their agenda and defend their policies with characteristic defiance.
Didn't hear it was about the National Education Union, led by a self-declared Marxist, Daniel Kabidi, somebody who is absolutely determined that our children should be poisoned at school. Their minds should be poisoned about everything to do with this country, its history, what it stood for, and what it's fought for. And as far as reform's concerned, yeah, he is encouraging literally indoctrination of teenagers in our schools by telling kids that Reform's a racist party, Reform's a bad party, and kids that speak out against that face disciplinary action. And I get reports of this come in via email every single week. I'll make one thing very, very clear. If we win the 2029 general election, we will go to war with the National Education Union and all the left-wing teaching unions. People should be taught to...
When asked whether he opposed the union's motion, Daniel Kebby replied, "I think there are an awful lot of racists getting involved in reform." And when pushed on whether that extended to Nigel Farage himself, he said, "I think Nigel Farage is a right-wing populist, a line that triggered a ferocious response, with Farage accusing Kebby of promoting political indoctrination in schools and warning that if Reform UK wins the next general election, it will go to war with the teaching unions. Farage branded Kebby a septic Marxist, claimed he was actively poisoning teenagers' minds, and argued this clash goes beyond party politics to the future of British children and how they are taught to see their own country, saying, "This is someone who wants our children to be brainwashed to hate this country, its history, and everything it stands for." He insisted education should be grounded in balance and fairness, that pupils should be encouraged to think critically and reach their own conclusions, and that ideology should never be forced on them, concluding with a rallying cry that the battle for the soul of Britain is far from over, as Farage and Reform UK show no sign of retreat. So if you enjoyed this political firestorm, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more.